Love happens sometimes unexpectedly, but it can be nurtured to some extent. In the beginning, there is a spark of interest, but how deeply we are loved will be the result of the effort you put in. While you can't force a person to fall in love, and it's best not to even try, there are a few tips to help those feelings blossom. If you want to win a man, but also make him seek your attention and reach out to you on his own, these psychological tips will help you. Ask him for something. Studies have shown that we often like the people we help in some way, even if we initially hated them. This is because subconsciously, we believe that the person would do the same for us. Imagine that you did something for a person you are indifferent to, or even dislike. There is a dissonance in your brain, a discrepancy between your perception and your actions that needs to be resolved. I just made an effort to do a favor for this person. Why? To achieve harmony, the brain changes our perceptions and convinces you that the other person is not so bad, and maybe even interesting. So when we ask a man for help, it subconsciously helps to generate his sympathy. Compliment him, but not too often. Most men don't listen to compliments that often, so when they do hear them, they tend to accept them gladly. The only problem is that compliments lose their power if we hear them all the time. But if you give compliments in moderation, at most one a day, it keeps a man energized and looking forward to more. Hold the eye-to-eye look a little longer. Never underestimate the power of an eye-to-eye stare. It is a great way to arouse a man's sexual tension. You can literally seduce a man with a look without saying a single word. Studies have shown that long eye contact increases the likelihood that a man and a woman will fall in love with each other. In an experiment conducted by social psychologist Arthur Aaron, 2 male and female strangers sat across from each other and answered personal questions, and then they stared silently into each other's eyes for 4 minutes. They later fell in love with each other and were married 6 months later. Psychologists say that prolonged eye contact synchronizes the brain activity between two people, due to which there is a sense of connectedness and closeness. Sometimes a 3-4 second look of eye to eye and a smile is enough to make a guy fall in love with you. Most men are reassured before making a move, and such nonverbal cues let him know that the odds are on his side. Say his name. The name we've been given is music to our ears. When we hear someone call our name, it boosts our self-esteem, even if just a little bit. Research has shown that our name heard from another person has a unique effect on brain activity. It responds involuntarily to the sound of our name, even in a state where we cannot react or affect it in any way. Mimic his gestures. One of the most common ways to show a person you're liking is to discreetly copy their gestures. In fact, when we like someone, we do it subconsciously without even thinking about it. Psychologists have noticed that we can create a closer bond by mirroring him, even if these gestures are done consciously. Spend quality time together. Try to spend time with him in different places as much as possible. This creates the illusion that you have known each other for a long time. It could be playing sports together, traveling to another city, going on a date in a new place, such as a zoo. Different experiences not only make you feel like you've known each other for a long time, but also helps to create sympathy. After all, it is with you that he will experience all these amazing adventures and want more. If you really want to give him the feeling of butterflies in his stomach, try doing something that releases a big adrenaline boost, like a roller coaster ride. Studies have shown that it significantly strengthens the mutual bond. Make him think the relationship was his idea. If you've been dating for a while and think it's time to move on to the next step, you may be tempted to tell your plans. However, you shouldn't do this. You can make a few subtle hints, but above all, give him time. A man wants to think that getting into a relationship was his idea. You should not pressure him, even if you see signs that he is in love. When a man senses that you are trying to force things, he will get the idea that you are desperate, which is not a good thing. Give him space and time, especially at the beginning of the relationship. If he feels like it was his idea to start the relationship, he'll be less likely to end it or think it's going too fast. Get physically closer. Touch plays a very important role. A 1992 study showed that people find you more attractive, cute, and even taller if you touch them. You can flick something off his clothes, put your hand on his shoulder when he's talking, playfully nudge him when he's joking. He will feel more comfortable when you touch him from time to time. This is how a man gets the feeling that he has a chance with you. You are giving him the green light to fall in love. Take charge of your life. When we are engaged in our lives, we become more attractive to a man. You can apply any methods and tips you want, but if you don't have anything interesting going on in your life that you are passionate about, a man's interest may gradually fade away. Instead of wasting time trying to win a man over, remember that people who are comfortable with themselves are interesting because they are doing things that make them happier. And that is very attractive. Imagine something you've wanted to do for a long time. Perhaps you have some childhood dreams that you still haven't realized. This will not only attract a man, but it will also make your life more enjoyable. Allow him to invest time and energy in you. This may seem a little difficult because when we are in love, we want to see a man as often as possible. However, this will quickly give him the impression that he gets you easily, which is something that is not attractive. If you want a man to be attracted to you, give him the opportunity to put in some effort. The more he puts time and energy into you, the more he will appreciate you. We appreciate a reward much more if we have to work harder to get it. Always remember that men are results-oriented. For example, you can ask a man for advice about a situation you had at work, even if you don't need his help. His help is putting energy into you. Also allow him to fix something in the house, even if it's just changing a light bulb. This doesn't mean you need to be weak and helpless, but you shouldn't immediately refuse to help. In other words, a man needs to make some effort to fall in love. Share your opinion with him. Asking for advice is a great way to fall in love with a man. However, that doesn't mean you need to ask for help about everything. Men like women who can share their thoughts on things from time to time. When a man asks you, "What do you like?" don't say, "I don't know." Instead, say what you feel in the moment, even if it sounds silly, and you think he won't like it. In other words, don't be afraid to express your point of view. Pay attention to your looks. The male brain reacts differently to visual stimuli than the female brain. Many people will find this view too superficial, but you can accept this fact and use it wisely. You do not have to be a model, starve, or spend a lot of money on outfits. It is enough to take care of yourself, look neat and beautiful, apply light makeup, and go to the gym. The main thing is to take care of your appearance, health, and try to emphasize your advantages. A man thinks like this: if she is trying, then I have a chance. If you want a man to reach out to you, this advice is very important. Laugh at his jokes. Studies have shown that women like men with a sense of humor. In turn, men like it when they can bring a smile to a girl's face. If he says something funny and you laugh at his jokes, you give him the validation that any man craves. It rubs his ego and gives him a boost that makes him feel better about himself. Moreover, the man begins to feel that you are the one who triggers this feeling in him. He wants to see you more often, and he starts to like you more and more. Keep him happy in bed. You may have heard that the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. While there is some truth to that, there are several aspects that are more important than food, and one of them is sex. It probably doesn't need to be proven to anyone that a good intimate life is important for a strong relationship. That doesn't mean you have to go to bed with a man on the first date. But if you've been dating for a while, it's important that you both feel good in bed. Foreplay is incredibly important. Without foreplay, intimacy becomes like a roller coaster without the slow climb to the top of the track. As with anything, anticipation itself is a key part of any intimacy. Don't think that foreplay is strictly a woman's desire. Believe me, men also enjoy this stage of physical intimacy. Men love with their eyes. Therefore, most of them, of course, it is pleasant to see their partner during intimacy, to look into her eyes. Therefore, do not turn off the light. Do your man a favor. Let him enjoy your body and face. Most women believe that the first step should always come from a man. Initiative is the prerogative of the stronger sex. This is how we were taught from childhood, and this is what we are inculcated with numerous articles, teaching us how to build the right relationship. But sometimes there are moments when a man wants the initiative to come from the partner. This actually turns on and excites his fantasies. The fire of desire in the eyes of a woman, hard flirting. All this drives a man crazy. And even if you are not a leader by nature, but just a fragile, sweet woman, try at least sometimes to depart from their own rules and take the initiative in the bedroom. After all, if you do not do this, your partner may seem that you are cold and unapproachable snow queen. In continuation of the topic of what a man loves with his eyes, it is worth mentioning sexy lingerie, to which most men pay attention. Therefore, try to make sure that you at least occasionally wear lingerie that he will certainly like. Even if you suddenly thought that your man paid absolutely no attention to what you have under your dress, know that he probably liked this sexy lingerie, and he appreciated your efforts to be beautiful for him. Offer your partner something new. Share your fantasies. Ask what your man wants, what he fantasizes about. It is quite possible that you have common fantasies that you both want to realize. Think through together a scenario that would be nice to play out in bed. So you will not only open with a different, more interesting side for your partner, but also let him know that you are open to new experiments, as well as fully and in everything he trusts. After all, our thoughts and fantasies are the most intimate things we have. Let him talk about himself. Sometimes it seems that we do not hear others at all. Everyone seems to feel the desire to prove something to others. Men feel the desire to brag, and women talk only about themselves. However, we should not forget one rule that Dale Carnegie described: you can make more friends in 2 months by being interested in other people than you can in 2 years. By trying to interest yourself, by being genuinely interested in a man, you automatically become more interested in him. If you want a man to be attracted to you, actively listen to what he says and ask questions. This not only shows that you are genuinely interested in him, but also gives you a chance to get to know better what he likes and dislikes. Don't be afraid to show your flaws. Many women hide their flaws in an attempt to look perfect in order to attract a man. While you don't have to show off all your flaws right away, your little slip-ups and imperfections make you more real and human, not just an artificially created image. Show that you two have a lot in common. If you want a man to fall in love with you, remind him of how similar you are. Studies have shown that we tend to fall in love with people with whom we share values and interests. If he and you love music, let him realize what you have in common. If he's a rebel by nature, show your rebellious side. If he values family togetherness, tell him how important your parents are to you. Similarities are important in any relationship, but you don't have to feign interest just because he likes it. Rather, find something you both enjoy and bring it to his attention. Be someone who you can trust. When a man falls in love, he may tell you about some of his problems or insecurities. Although not all relationships start with trust, honesty is essential if you want a real relationship with a man. He needs to know that he can trust you and that you are real. Otherwise, he will never be able to fall in love with you. If you want a man to appreciate and love you, be honest and trustworthy by keeping his secrets. Let him know you're thinking of him. Seemingly insignificant little things can mean a lot in a relationship. Send him a text every now and then, or an unexpected card to let him know you're thinking of him. Leave a cute note under the windshield wipers of his car, or on his desk at work. If you've been dating for a while and have even been physically intimate, you can send each other messages with racy content. All of this lets him know that you are thinking about him. Don't shower him with attention. You may be tempted to spend every minute with a man, but remember that everyone needs to be alone from time to time. If you give a man the freedom to be himself, he will eventually come back to you. But if you act desperate, flooding him with messages and keeping him busy, it can kill his desire to have any kind of relationship. There is nothing more attractive than a woman who values herself enough not to chase after a man. If you prove that you are not clinging to him, he will know that you are the one. Thank you for being with us. Ask your questions in the comments. Share your secrets and stories of how you got a married man. Thanks again. Give us a like and subscribe to the channel.